Hey guys, welcome to Bespoke and Bougie Reviews. I'm Winston. I'm going to be doing quick reviews on the Irwin Fitness bench and rack, and then talk about why I have chosen to go with more custom-made stuff for my home gym, and why, if you're in this gym equipment space for powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, Olympic weightlifting, why it is sometimes, in my opinion, better to go with custom versus what I would call maybe a mass-produced style product, and why you may want to stay with that mass-produced style product, and just kind of discuss the difference between the two. So quickly on the rack, I don't want to go too much into the reviews of the Irwin Fitness rack, simply because in my view with a lot of the stuff, a rack is a rack is a rack. I mean, they're metal posts with either 1-inch holes, 5-inch holes, or like 3/4 holes, I think that's the other one. And typically they're 90 inches, 100 inches. I think Rogue goes up to like 108, and then Go Strong, which is no longer around, but like some companies will go up to 120 inches if you want like a strongman style rack. I had a Go Strong rack, kind of similar to this one, clear coat. It was 5/8 holes instead of the 1-inch holes that this Irwin has. It was 90 inches compared to this Irwin rack, which is 100 inches. And I'm going to be showing B-roll of the Irwin rack and stuff I have on it currently here in just a moment. And I love the Irwin Fitness rack. I love the Go Strong rack. The main reason I swapped from Irwin to Go Strong, from Go Strong to Irwin rather, was because I wanted a taller rack. I'm 6'2", and the 90 inches was just kind of like for pull-ups and some things. I think I would like some more space. Like I wanted to do overhead press inside the rack sometimes with a log. So there's just reasons for me, just because of my height, that I wanted that taller rack. 90 inches is of course acceptable. I think like all the West Side barbell racks were like 90 inches and 5/8. So like that's fine. That's a very, very good rack. 1-inch, I went with a 1-inch style hole simply because that does seem more equipment manufacturers are moving towards in the future for their attachments. I do think probably, not anytime soon, but 5-10 years, we may start seeing like much less emphasis on 5/8 style attachments. It's already kind of tough for some things. Like it's a custom order for anything you do with like Oak Club or Sorenex, some of those companies, it's always going to be a custom order. I like to do 5/8, so it's going to have an associated charge with it. So that's why I swapped to the 1-inch. In terms of like the quality of the racks, I mean, they are very similar. I mean, again, like a rack is a rack is a rack. It's got, posts, 4, 6, 8 posts with cross members. This one, I will say, I've actually asked Irwin, and this is something I would consider if you do decide to get a 100-inch rack. My Go Strong rack had a lot less holes in it, which I did not like. It's like the bottom cross members had no holes for storage at all, but that did add to some structural integrity. Like the 90-inch Go Strong did not move at all. The Irwin one has a very minor bit of sway, even with the plates on. Nothing that would affect your workout. You're not tipping that thing over, but just I'm going to get a bottom crossmember to kind of add to the stability and just for more options for storage. But that's kind of what you're going to be getting with a 100-inch rack versus a 90-inch rack. More space with a slight sacrifice in stability, but again, nothing that's going to like tip your rack over, nothing that's going to affect your workouts. Just something to know going in, getting a 100-inch rack versus a 90-inch. And then talking about the bench, I want to talk a little bit more about the bench and I'll have some B-roll going through it. Like racks, to an extent, an adjustable bench is an adjustable bench. That has been the case for a long time, but there's been a lot of companies out right now. I mean, Rogue and Rep are making these really cool ones that can decline and stuff like the Blackwing and then the Manta Ray from Rogue. I'm not really interested in that. I don't know what the general consensus is with most folks, but I don't do a lot of decline bench press. I do a lot of incline bench press, but I don't do a lot of decline work at all, so that is kind of lost on me. But what I want to talk about the Irwin bench specifically is more the difference between kind of bolt together benches and fully welded benches. The only places I know that made fully welded benches would be like William Strength, which I have a lot of equipment from them. I've had a William Strength fully welded bench. Go Strong, never had a Go Strong bench that was fully welded. I had their comp bench, but never a fully welded bench. But companies like Irwin, Rep, Rogue, they're mostly going to be bolted together. which is going to be what it means. You know, it's with bolts instead of being fully welded. And the general consensus on that is that the welded bench is going to be much more stable, heavier, and more of a solid bench. And in my experience, that has been the case until this bench. I'm going to be tagging another more in-depth review of this bench from McAllister Strength & Co., where they go like really detailed into this bench. I just wanted to give some like thoughts on it from someone who's had a lot of fully welded benches, or I say a lot, I've had one fully welded bench. I've had the Rogue AB2. I've tried a lot of benches. I've had the Prime Fitness bench, Go Strong Comp bench. This, for a bolt together design, has the stability of a welded design. I think if you're buying a bolt together bench and you want something definitely going to be more in the custom realm in terms of colors, and again, you can see the unique logo on the back, kind of my gym logo, that bison, Irwin's the way to go in my opinion. Simply because it doesn't, I mean, I'm 6'2", 270, like kind of shaking, getting on there. You know, there's no movement at all, which is not common with bolt together benches like the Prime Fitness bench. It's like our bodybuilder bench with the elbow pads. That had a lot of movement. Even my Rogue AB2 had a lot of movement. Even my Ghost Comp bench sometimes had some movement because it had an incline feature to it. So in terms of stability of benches and quality of benches, Irwin's right up there as being the top dog in my opinion. And that's kind of when I wanted to transition the bulk of this video. Why would you buy something from like Irwin Fitness, which is definitely more of a custom, smaller company? It's just Garth Irwin. I think he has like 1 or 2 employees, versus like a Rogue, which is obviously like a mammoth beast of a production company. And I would argue it's sort of, you're going to be paying close to the same most of the time buying from Rogue versus Irwin. Like for example, this bench shipped to me was like $1,300. That's about what you're going to get that new Rogue bench, that Man Ray bench with that decline feature, shipped to your door, because I think that decline adds like $250 onto the already $999 price. So you're going to be paying about that much for like a Rogue bench. What I like about going custom is they will do what you want specific to your thing. Like I love clear coat. It's notoriously tough to work with because you have to make sure the metal's very clean, because it will show rust throughout. But I like that kind of raw metal look. No way Rogue's doing that. Rep has, they offer some clear coat options, but like a company's going to be like, this is our colors, this is our logo, that's what you're getting. Like no negotiating with that at all, no barter. Even if you offer to pay, you will not get that option typically to do more custom stuff. This is kind of my main hobby, powerlifting and just hanging out in the gym in general. So to me, being able to make things your own, even if that means paying a little more, I'm totally comfortable with that. Like if you look at some of the B-roll on the Irwin fitness rack, which I'll throw in here again, I'm also going to throw in again one more time, the bench B-roll. You can just see kind of like, on the logo, for example, this was like stitched by, I think just this lady that Garth grew up with who does stitch work. Like that's who did the stitching on that bison. Garth spent hours scraping and cleaning, doing like kind of like that cool pattern on the nameplate back there. I was actually talking to him one weekend. He went down to the powder coater because he didn't do in-house powder coating at the moment. He's buying a new warehouse where he will, but he went down to the powder coater's business and powder coated my stuff specifically himself because he wanted to make sure it was good because it was clear coat. He knew it needed some more work. That is attention to detail. You will not find at Rep. You will not find that at Rogue. They have their like assembly people, but like I'm talking to the guy who's building this specifically the entire time of what he's going through, of what he's doing to make sure everything's okay. I do think 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a higher quality product going custom than it would be going kind of like big box, so to speak. Like all my cable attachments, pretty much all my cable attachments come from one guy, JD Gym Equipment. He does stainless steel attachments and other things. He's a general machinist, but he mostly does kind of fitness related stuff. But like if you wanted like a handle to add knurl to your hockey stick, he does that, those guys that will kind of go above and beyond and do kind of specific things you want. Like JD, for example, I'm wanting a stainless steel axle bar, which I will review here. He's going to be making that for me. So you can go to these smaller guys, establish relationships, and have really unique stuff that not everyone else is going to have, and stuff that's going to be more tuned specifically to you. Like, that's why I went, like, I could have spent less money and gotten a more, just stock and standard functionality, nothing wrong with, like, my leg extension leg curl, my GHD, my lat pull down, my rack. I could have definitely gone like more, big box, like it's going to do the same things, but it wouldn't have the colors that I like. It wouldn't have that logo that I like. That's important to me. So you will be paying, on average, as I was kind of looking, a 20 to 30% upcharge going with like a smaller person, just because they don't have the manufacturing capabilities that a Rogue or a Rep does. But if what's important to you is aesthetics or something having a very specific function for you, I would definitely go custom. Like, I'm going to be reviewing in the coming weeks. The next thing up for review is going to be all the stuff that I'm getting from a guy, another custom guy, Black Widow Training Gear in New York. Like, if you go to Black Widow Training Gear's website, you're going to see all their stuff is going to be in black, kind of like this black rough powder coat, which is like very common, very, very good material to kind of add some toughness to the bars. I don't like that look. Again, I like the clear coat. So it doesn't in clear coat. He puts on the logos that I want. These are offsets. They're not, I don't think they're like advertised on his website. I'm like, hey, I want some offsets. He's like, well, I can make those for you. I'm having a very, I've had many deadlift jacks, and we'll be talking more about that later, but he's making me a custom deadlift jack with these specific specifications that I found that I liked by testing out other deadlift jacks. So I definitely think going custom is the route I'll always be going. And in the future, if possible, like, some things you just can't have made custom. Like, I don't know anyone who's making like a Legend Fitness squat machine type thing. Like, Dean at Black Widow Training Gear may be able to do that. He's going to be making me a row machine, but whenever possible, I will be going custom. And I kind of wanted to just talk about in general why you would go custom over, again, that kind of big box Rogue Rep, places like that. So again, if there's any questions anyone has about like kind of custom stuff I have, stuff that's going to be coming up for review, please feel free to shoot it in the comments of this video. I'll happily respond to it. And guys, that's going to be it for this one. And I'll see y'all next week here. We'll be doing more on this Black Widow Training Gear. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.